Thank you everyone for joining us today for our SuperZoo pre-show, Get You Ready for the Show Seekers and Avoiders. I'm Scott Dicker. I'm a data analyst that's here at Spins. With almost 10 years of experience in the nutrition industry, I'm focused on identifying the trends and insights that are driving growth. I'm joined today by Kyle Menner, one of our retail account managers who's heavily involved in pets. And as you can see, that is my orange cat, Edmund. And Kyle, what is your dog's name again?
Yeah, that is my 7-year-old Chihuahua Terrier mix, Zoe. So my little ball of fur there.
Very good. So, of course, we bring that personal passion to the pet industry, and we're really excited to go over some of the trends of the industry today. Get you ready for the show. So we're really seeing a few major trends playing out right now in pet. I think, as you can tell from our enthusiasm introducing our furry friends, that people are really humanizing their pets. We're seeing a lot more pet parents, no longer pet owners. And as that translates to the pet industry, we're seeing a lot more, human grade food and treats. So the ingredient statements are starting to look a lot more like foods that you would buy for yourself at the grocery store. There's specialized diets. Things are being personalized. Again, personalized human nutrition, personalized pet nutrition. And we're seeing a lot more functional ingredients. So ways to optimize pet health is being seen at the treats and the foods that we're buying for our pets, as well as increased demand for pet supplements to really optimize a pet's quality of life. So before diving in to the specific products and the ingredients that are really driving growth, I want to take a quick look at the top line of the industry. So as we see here, the neighborhood pet channel is growing at a faster rate than both regional independent as well as conventional. And within that channel, we see that a lot of the growth is coming from specialty and wellness products. So that's really where a lot of pet parents are running to when it comes to these functional ingredient, added benefits, food, treats, and supplements, as opposed to we're seeing an increase in naturally positioned products in the regional and independent grocery store, as well as conventional and multi-outlet. Early in the pandemic, we really saw consumers, and taking a step back, we wanted to take a look at the channels that pet parents were turning to for buying their pet products. And obviously it's been a crazy couple of, almost 2 years now, so a year and a half, where we've seen a lot of shifting going on of people's routines and how they go about buying products for themselves and their pets. So like other industries, early in the pandemic, we saw a large shift online. So, and then also the other beneficiaries were these big box stores where consumers were limiting their trips to the store and they were shopping more at these big box stores where they could do a one-stop shop. As we've been coming out of at least this wave of the pandemic, we've seen a lot of that shift back to the regional and independent grocery stores. And so this shows that this is really the preference for a lot of in-store discovery when it comes to the pet department. And I think one of the big advantages that pet stores have as opposed to other retailers that are brick and mortar is that many of them provide services to pets that require, coming in. So when people are coming in for grooming, or even if it's just that they allow pets in their stores. So when you're walking your dog, a trip to the store is more convenient, and even more convenient than going online sometimes, where you don't have to wait for delivery. You're right by the store. It's kind of, I always think about it like when I go for a walk with my wife and we pass the ice cream store, we stop and get the ice cream. And it's the same way when you're walking your dog, if you plan your walk around this destination, you're going for the walks anyways. So that's one big advantage that pet stores have to keep people coming into their brick and mortar stores. And again, offering these services is a big reason as well. a grooming service or, more health services as well. And so that's a big reason that people are preferring these neighborhood pet stores as we move forward. All right, next we're going to take a look at some of the category breakdowns by channel. Kyle, do you want to walk us through it?
Absolutely, would be happy to. So really what I wanted to illustrate here was looking at all the different categories that Spins breaks out within our pet channel, and kind of look at that across all of the data sources that we're getting with MULO, our natural enhanced, and our regional independent grocery, and compare that to our neighborhood pet channel. So the first thing that really jumps out to me here is the pet food, and kind of similar to what Scott was saying. It is kind of lagging over the last 52 weeks, where the big box stores were really having a kind of a strong performance there for a little while, kind of trying to limit the amount of trips to the store. But if you really look at the last like 12 and 24 weeks, our neighborhood pet channel is rebounding really strong and starting to take back some of that share. And one thing that I really like to talk to, and I know Scott was mentioning some of the specialties when it comes to the neighborhood pet stores too, is having the specialized employees to kind of talk through diets and different things like that, having to rely on those specialties that you're not getting that specific treatment when it comes to some of the big box stores and things like that. So another great way for people to get back in stores there. And as we've seen, it's really starting to rebound and kind of take that share back. But some of the more specialty categories, like your pet care and wellness, your waste management, things that are going to be strong in the neighborhood pet channel, have proven to do so over the last 52 weeks and kind of continue that trend as we get a little bit closer.
Yeah, Kyle, and just kind of doubling down on that, I think it's a lot of the differentiating assortment that's bringing people to these neighborhood pet channels. I know, for my cat has a lot of allergies. So
Right.
We have to get a very limited ingredient, salmon-based food for him all the time. And, we found that we really have to go to some of these neighborhood pet stores to get it, because the big box stores have much more limited selection. So I think that opportunity of selection, then as you were commenting, that educated staff
Absolutely
is a big driver there. And also doubling down on what you said, that pet care and wellness, if you look at a lot of that's driven by supplements sales in pets.
Yep.
And I know we're going to get into it a little more in a few slides, but things that, again, pandemic driven, where people were at home more with their pets, they're going for more walks, and we've seen a lot of the joint supplements.
Totally.
Therefore, kind of an unintended consequence, right? Like they're going for more walks, their joints are a little tired, especially if you have an older pet. And so it's good. And also, I think there's some things like CBD's rebounding, and we'll get more into that. I should wait. But a lot of the anxiety that humans were feeling, they want to kind of pass along those benefits to their pets as well. So this is very interesting. And then without rambling on anymore on this slide, let's go into the next slide and get into some of the forms and product types that are really driving growth. So what's going on here, Kyle?
Absolutely. So taking a look at some of the different product types and forms. So this is really exciting because this is something that Spins has recently been able to kind of break out with attributes. Some of these freeze-dried and dehydrated that have become so prominent is now something that we are able to code out for. So it's a really exciting change within the last couple of months here. So taking a look at freeze-dried. So obviously not cooking, keeping it more raw, keeping some of those nutrients within the food. It's a really strong performance when it comes to freeze-dried food, up about 13%. Dehydrated, another really important piece when it comes to keeping it kind of more raw, but it is a little bit more cooking based, but you're still going to be able to have that, the benefits of the dehydrated there. But we're really seeing some growth with dehydrated treats. That's up about 57.6%. So, I mean, it's definitely something that's not just within food, but it's also making its way over into treats, which is kind of helped driving that overall performance there. We are seeing, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they have a longer shelf life too. I think that's one of the big draws for especially freeze-dried, as people are going to these more raw diets. Totally. They want to preserve that nutrients, but it's not always economical or functional if the shelf life isn't isn't there. So I think the freeze dried, and then to your point, a lesser extent dehydrated, I think that's really an impact factor over there.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point. And then we are seeing a little bit of a decline in kind of dry food as we look for kind of some more of those alternatives with the different ways that those are kind of formed there. One, bully sticks, that's been a really exciting one to keep track of, as that's up about 5%. Being able to have that be a little bit more easily digestible, kind of help some of those dental issues. It's definitely something that I've kept an eye on for my Zoe here as she approaches 8 years. She's having some dental issues and things. So being able to mix those in every once in a while has been a nice addition, kind of help with everything dental wise. And then toppers and mixers is another thing that's been up about 21%. Really strong performance, kind of getting that extra aroma and things like that for some of our picky eaters, and having that addition to as they approach older age, or get a little bit pickier, or like you were saying, maybe certain diets that you want to add something in there. Having those toppers and mixers is definitely becoming more prominent in overall pet food. Yeah,
they're being used both functionally, and then I like your point is adding different flavors and aromas. Yep. It's fun to see some of these flavors that they're adding to pet food, to pet toppers, but I know they do work. We've used them for our cat before, and he goes crazy for it. So it really is a way to kind of add some added nutrients there.
Totally.
So we've spoken a little bit about some of these wellness and functional ingredients. So I wanted to go over some of the data on some of the bigger ones that are either driving sales, or go over some of the ones that are making more headlines, like CBD, and see what the state of that is. That was really hot in 2019. It had a downward year in 2020, really across all channels. But tell us about how it's doing, kind of rebounding, especially in the neighborhood pet channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you were saying, I think as we went more to the big box stores through the pandemic, CBD kind of took a little bit of a hit here. But as we look at the last 12 and 24 weeks, it's really starting to rebound as we head back into our neighborhood pet stores. Something I'm interested to keep an eye on as we move forward is, with people starting to kind of return to normal life and return back to the office, will CBD continue to grow to kind of calm those pet nerves? Because that's one thing. They're kind of getting used to having everyone around all the time. It'll be interesting to see once everyone starts going back to the office and going out to plays and movies and things like that. It'll be interesting to see what happens with CBD and trying to help calm the pets as those transitions happen. Collagen is another one that we're seeing a really strong boost in. That goes back to your point about the joints. As we're doing more walks and being more active with our pets, definitely something to keep in mind as they start getting a little bit older. Pumpkin is one that's been an interesting trend for me to keep an eye on here, is up about 60%, really adding some fiber to the pets' diets and kind of helping with the digestion there, seeing that in some treats and some care and wellness. That's kind of a unique flavor that we are kind of seeing make its way in, as well as some fish oil is another thing that has been pretty prominent, picking up about 32.6%, really having some of those good like heart benefits and helping improve the coats and everything of our pets. And then glucosamine as well, up about 12.5%. So definitely some interesting ingredients that are being worked into treats and pet care and wellness.
Yeah, and a few kind of additional notes on these. We're seeing, things like fish oil. I've really seen that, and we'll get to some of these brands that are doing it, but it's both added as a functional ingredient to food, for pet food, as well as its own supplement. And it's being advertised similar to how it's being advertised for humans. So for heart health, brain health, eye health, as well as joints, kind of making it a go-to addition for a lot of these Absolutely. Products. And then also just wanted to kind of reiterate, when we're looking at CBD in this channel, it's actually, the growth is accelerating. So as we see, even though it's down 5% for the entire year, we've seen in 24 weeks and then 12 weeks, it's really, the growth is accelerating. So people, as they're making their way back to these neighborhood pet stores, this type of consumer seems to be very interested in CBD. We saw that as the category whole for like kind of wellness products, but more specifically for CBD, this seems to be a preferred destination for those pet parents.
Absolutely.
And so what type of, I mentioned before, my cat is allergic to chicken and beef. So we have to stick with whole salmon food, at least for our cat. So tell us more about what these whole proteins, how they're doing in the market.
Absolutely. Yeah. As you're saying, as you get into some of these allergens and things, it's interesting to take a look at some of these whole proteins. So I kind of wanted to break it out a little bit and see which ones were performing. So took a look at whole beef products. So up about 3.6%, really kind of growing in some pet treats too, which is interesting. So kind of focusing on some whole beef pet treats. We can also see chicken is up a little bit as well. Looks like chicken's growing pretty strong in cat treats. So that's a unique one. Obviously, your guy's not going to be able to indulge in some of that, but definitely an interesting product there. Salmon, whole salmon, up in some rawhide and animal chews, which is an interesting little subcategory that we're keeping an eye on for whole salmon. And then a couple that are trending a little bit down. So whole turkey and whole lamb are kind of losing some share here over the last 52 weeks within our neighborhood pet channel. Looks like some more like beefs and chickens are being picked up there.
Yeah, really cool. And yeah, the raw hides and animal chews going towards some more seafood based is an interesting trend. And then one clarification I do want to note here is that these numbers reflect products that contain these whole ingredients, but it's not necessarily exclusively these whole ingredients.
Sure. So
there are a lot of products that, of course, are blends. So just wanted to do that quick clarification. And next, Kyle, take us through, we've mentioned them, but some of these allergens, intolerances, and just generally avoided ingredients. What's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think any of these are too groundbreaking. It's definitely stuff that we've started to keep an eye out for as a whole. But we're definitely still seeing some things like labeled grain free. That is growing strong. People are trying to avoid some of that within their pet food, which is like Scott was saying early on, it's kind of going to that human element of it too. Some of the same things that we're trying to avoid within our own diets, you're seeing that get passed on to our pets. So really in pet treats, we're seeing a lot of growth in labeled grain free, truly trying to avoid artificial colors. So you're seeing that up about 22.8% when there's no artificial colors included. No corn, still a very strong piece. As you kind of go back to some of those like whole proteins and things, you're kind of looking for more of those elements and trying to avoid the corn products there. And then artificial flavors is still up a little bit, something that we're keeping an eye on. It's kind of a large segment there, but definitely trying to avoid some of those artificial flavors and try to get more of those true products in there.
Very cool. And I think it'll be interesting to see as we move forward, what ingredients kind of will be differentiated and the product assortments are going to be highlighting the what's in them and as well as what's not in them. Like you mentioned, artificial colors and flavors, it's something that's becoming a clean label staple for human food. Yep. And it's also going to be mirrored of importance with pets.
Absolutely.
All right, with that, we wanted to take you through a little bit of the show floor over at SuperZoo, where we can get you ready and some of the brands that are doing some cool things and some of the sought after trends, as well as some of the avoided trends that they're avoiding to get you ready for the show. So when we start with dog food, one of the things that caught my eye is Stella and Chewy's, highlighting human grade. This is a big trend. Again, people don't want to think of their pets as eating lesser food than them or lesser quality. This is something that's here to stay. They want it to be only the best and the best for their little pet children, their fur. Things like promoting collagen, again, a huge trend for wellness ingredients, and also it's an addition to their food. And added turmeric for the anti-inflammatory response. So these are popular ingredients that have kind of found a new market over in pet food. And then when we look over at Fromm and the Honest Kitchen, it really caught my eye is that while labeled grain-free remains kind of a sought-after label claim in the industry, the addition of ancient grains or whole grains is becoming more popular. So I think labeled grain-free is going to start to get a little fragmented, where it's more of the type of grain that's in there as well. And then again, we're seeing the added salmon oil and probiotics for digestion and joint health and other functions. So really adding functionality to their food. Now taking a look over at the cat food friends, we're seeing a lot of the same things going on with Fromm, added prebiotics, probiotics, salmon oil, and even I saw, added L-carnitine for weight loss formula. So these specialized supplemental ingredients to really personalize these pet nutrition. And Hill's Pet Nutrition does this, very visibly with specialized diets. So again, not all, pet food is ready for your pet. And then Farmina, having grain-free, cruelty-free research. That's another thing that's popping up a lot in pet, as well as highlighting that there's artificial preservative-free. So again, this clean label concept to check out.
It's really cool to see the blend coming between pet food and pet wellness. It kind of like the intersection that you're seeing there is really exciting, and definitely the future as we move forward to this.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, as we move into treats, some of the ones that we wanted to highlight are Blue Dog Bakery, which advertises no animal byproducts, which that's something that is of interest, and that's something we're tracking as well. Where animal byproducts sometimes are sought after and sometimes they're avoided, kind of depending on the consumer. So we are tracking that. And so that's an interesting label claim to watch. Non-GMO, no artificial colors, again, clean label stuff. We are looking at limited ingredients. Earth Animal follows the 5-domain sourcing, which is more of an ethical sourcing practice. So again, cruelty-free, ethical sourcing. It's becoming a big factor in pet. And then one thing I found very interesting was Walkabout Pet. They've been using exotic proteins to limit allergens. So hypoallergenic. For example, they have wild kangaroo products. So being really into allergens, they're going to different sources. We've seen that a little bit in human food with these different plant-based protein sources, as well as different wild game. So all these new protein sources for pets as well will be something interesting to watch.
Absolutely.
And finally, we wanted to check out some of the supplement brands that will be on the show floor. Arc Naturals with their joint rescue formula. I find this interesting because they use kind of a synergistic approach, throwing a lot of very familiar ingredients that we're used to seeing in joint health supplements, glucosamine, curcumin, boswellia, and bromelain. So that's pretty interesting. The Primal Pet Foods, the goat milk, I find this really fascinating, the flavors they have. I'm pretty sure, and I don't want to missay this, but I think it's like a pumpkin spice flavor.
Sure.
So we're seeing, very unique flavors. People want to treat their pets. Not sure if the pets care about these unique flavors, but they're on trend, right? So the added, and then also the added kale, which is, the hidden veggies, the nutrients we're seeing again in people food, this hidden veggies. So, they're getting their pumpkin spice milk, their hidden veggies all in one. It's great to see. And then finally, the Natural Dog Company, we're seeing their salmon oil, omega-3s and 6s, no additives, no preservatives, very clean label, really looking out for their pets' best health. And with that, that takes us to the end of our pre-show. I hope you feel prepared for the show. Kyle and I will be out there at SuperZoo. So we hope to see you out there. And thank you so much for listening.
Yes, thank you. Really excited to see everybody. Looking forward to it.